This episode of Setting the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today. Right then, ladies and gents, welcome to Setting the Score. My name is Harry Doran. What an unbelievable Manchester City performance that was yesterday at the Etihad. Are they back in the title race? Are they going to be the ones that chase down Arsenal for the Premier League title? Listen, I know we're only 11 games in, but that performance yesterday against the current champions was insane. Jeremy Doku, that's one of the best performances that I've seen from a winger all season. Erling Haaland scores again. His tally goes up and up and up. If he keeps going on that way, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or. Hate to sound like Rio Ferdinand. Joining me to look back on all of the action from the Etihad yesterday is Millie from Anything Liverpool and Joe from City Ramble. Millie, the Premier League title race, I mean, what are we, 11 games into the season? Can we categorically say Liverpool aren't going to win the Premier League title this season?
Well, it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? I mean, I'm still not ready to call it off completely, but I'd probably say I'm about 80% of the way there now. I don't see us turning it round at this point. To go from being 5 points clear to being eighth going into this international break, it's just, what can you say about it, really?
Joe, Manchester City have had the ability of going again and going again and going again and going again in the Premier League title race. What have Liverpool really sort of lacked in your experience as a City fan? As, like I said, you've done it so many years on the trot, 4 in a row. I mean, what did Liverpool not do in the summer, or how differently have they approached this season compared to like a Manchester City of old?
It just appears to me like they haven't been very innovative with the tactics. Like it seems kind of the same as last year. They've just sort of seen what's good on the market, what players are fit and firing as from last season, bought them and just expected, right, we've got a super squad now. It's going to go out there and win the league. I think that there just doesn't seem to be too much method to the madness, if you get what I mean. I just think that the signing of Isak is a wonderful signing, but when you already have Eithad, it just doesn't really make sense in that way. And I think for City, there was such I don't know, there was something different about them, the motivation that they sort of managed to get within the players that it just isn't there. There's a reason why it was almost difficult for teams to go and win back-to-back leagues, never mind 4 in a row. So I think that, the expectation shouldn't be for teams to always go on dominant periods and win leagues back-to-back. So I think City are an anomaly in that aspect. I just think that, I don't know, something has changed this Liverpool side this year. Maybe it's the defensive frailties and the signing's just not working out. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, I am certainly enjoying it.
What do you make of that, Millie? Is it the defensive frailties? Is there no method behind the madness of the amount that Liverpool spent in the summer?
I feel like defensively we've been poor this season. I mean, Konaté's been far off the mark for most of our games, but I feel like ignoring the obvious thing in the summer with the death of obviously Diogo Jota, it's clearly unsettled the team. I mean, Salah hasn't looked himself since then as well. It's just that happening before we even start the title defence is just not good enough. Obviously, we've got whispers of Konaté flirting with Madrid, the same as we had Trent last season. I don't think that helps. I mean, Kerkez is a great player on paper, but he just hasn't. He's very young, very, very young. And I mean, we've brought all these players in, and it seems like at the moment we're just reverting back to the starting 11, bar 1 or 2 players that we had last season, because it's almost like we've brought them all in like some mad FIFA run. We've just gone, yeah, let's have everyone, let's have everyone, let's have everyone. And then we're like, oh God, we've got everyone, but what do we do with it? Because no one knows how to play together anymore.
Yeah, it's like the 0% chemistry on FIFA Ultimate Team back in the day. When
exactly.
There just doesn't seem to be that gel. Like yesterday, it seemed like everyone was so disjointed and the players didn't really know that, they just couldn't work together. And I think that's fair enough when you have sort of a rebuild or a big transfer window, because City done it so often. But I think that's when you have to maybe look at the recruitment team and think the players that they're bringing in, the profiles they're bringing in, should they maybe have thought a bit harder about what the kind of players they're bringing in, whether they are the right fit for the club, whether, do they really need another striker after Eithad? Are they just being greedy at that point? I'm not too sure. It's one of them ones where I think watching the performance yesterday, I was nervous going into the game, but I think after we went 2-0 up, I was so shocked. So I think usually coming into these games, like, it is a big title decider. It is a huge game. But I was calm, cool, calm, and collected after 2-0.
I think the crazy thing as well is that's the same starting 11 that played against Real Madrid on Tuesday. And we absolutely schooled them for 90 minutes. I was at Anfield for the game and we looked electric. Everyone looked like something had finally clicked. And then you come into the City game and it's completely different. They look like 11 strangers on the pitch.
I think it just says something about City, that, I think, in my opinion.
Listen, Liverpool have lost 4 consecutive Premier League away games, their worst run on the road since 2012. Joe, I mean, for people that don't want Arsenal to win the Premier League title, I think, and as a neutral, I got a bit bored of Manchester City constantly winning it, but this is pretty much a question to both of you. So let's say Liverpool are out of the title race. City are the only ones that can chase Arsenal. I mean, Millie as well, are you going to be back in Manchester City? Because I can't begin to say how badly I don't want Arsenal to win the Premier League title. I know I need to be a neutral, I'm a presenter, but at the same time, like, I'd rather City go and do it again rather than those guys in North London parade around. And, you know, I call them YouTuber FC because every single one of their fans is either an influencer or a YouTuber. So that's a question for both of you. Joe, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that no one really wants Arsenal from the league, and I think City are the best poised team in the league to do that at the minute. I think once they're always known as that shark team. I think once they smell blood, then you know that's the worst position for the team at the top to be in. I mean, I know it's only a 4-point gap and it's still early on in the season, but already they drop points on a weekend. We have a big game. They think they might be able to get away with one. We don't provide a really dominant performance, and I think already that's going to put the pressure on Arsenal, because I think for me, I was always worried about Arsenal the most because I think that their squad size this year is much better compared to previous years. I think if they did get a Saliba or Gabriel injury, they'd be much better, well suited to cope with that loss. It's just them now. It's their mentality, whatever it is. It's their own doing if they lose the league title now, I think. Or if they are in a position to win the league, it'll be because they finally got that mentality. So I think now it's going to be a real test of it, because they know that City are going to be on their tail now. They've got to come to the Etihad. They've still got difficult away games, albeit City have got, you know, difficult away games and stuff as well. But I just think there is no other team that you would want. There was the worst team to be behind, like, you know, top of the league and have the team chasing you is Manchester City.
Mm. What about you, Millie? Would you throw on a Manchester City shirt for the remainder of the season so it means that Arsenal don't win the Premier League title?
I would never throw the shirt on, but City pool runs deep. It's been a rivalry for years now, but I would much rather see City win than Arsenal. I honestly can't bear the thought that style of football in the Premier League is what's going to win it. It's just, I can't. At least when you go into like a Man City Liverpool game, you know it's going to be a proper football game. It's going to be end to end for 90 minutes and you're going to enjoy watching it. The thought of them winning it and all the unbearable fans that they have being able to parade that around sickens me. It sickens me. So City, it's in your hands. It is in your hands.
It's really weird. Like, I've got a newfound respect for Liverpool, I think, because as much there is a rivalry there, you know, I'd always want to beat them and stuff. But I think because of that sort of Klopp and Pep era and the fact that they pushed us to get 98 points, and we always had some of the best game, you know, I would argue that 2-1 in 2018-19 is the best game of Premier League football that there has ever been. The quality that was on display, I think I've got a weird, you know, mutual respect for Liverpool, just how well they did to keep up with us. So I think even if it was the other way around, and it was, you know, Liverpool had just battered City and it was Arsenal Liverpool for the title, I'd rather Liverpool went and won it than Arsenal, mainly because my dislike for Arsenal overweighs my liking for Liverpool. But yeah, there's City Pool rivalry has also kind of breeded a mutual bit of respect between the two clubs, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Millie, where did you stand on the Virgil van Dijk disallowed goal from last night? It's an absolutely beautiful header. But of course, it was ruled out with Andy Robertson sort of like encroaching on the goalkeeper, his vision, and also being offside as well. Do you think it should have stood?
I absolutely think that goal should have stood, and I feel like had it have gone the other way, the City fans would have felt it should have stood as well. He ducks out of the way. He's not in line with Donnarumma. Andy Robertson's like yay high, and Donnarumma's about 6'4". If he's obstructing the line of vision, then there's an error there. And from the stills that I saw, it looked like their own player was in front of him. And yeah, do you know what? Had it have gone to 1-1, that could have changed the game, but it didn't, and we ended up getting battered. But absolutely should have stood. And there's no argument about it. When you've got Wayne Rooney and Gary Neville saying that a goal for Liverpool should stand, that's when you know the decision is poor.
That's when you know the world's gone mad. Joe, do you think the officials and VAR made the right decision?
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those where if it goes for you, you're grateful. If it goes against you, you're very, very annoyed. I can see why people are saying it's a bit harsh, but at the same time, there's a reason why he has to duck out the way the ball is going to go towards him. I think that there is probably some impact on his vision. The percent how much his vision is impacted, I will, fair enough. It's probably not that high, but I still think, it's one of them ones where if Liverpool had conceded that goal, you'd be crying out for it to be disallowed. And I think maybe it's a bit of karma coming back to bite Liverpool. They had all them last minute winners. You sort of start the season. Is this sort of their luck has finally turned around on them the last couple of weeks?
I feel like, though,
tops it all off.
The thing that really irritated me was looking at the Wolves City game from last season, and it was the identical goal, and it was called offside on the pitch. It went to VAR, and it was overruled.
Well, I would say that's why I always view VAR as a bit of a cyclical thing. I think, you have bad decisions, you have good decisions for you. At the end of the season, they probably even themselves out with the goals you get given for you that probably shouldn't have been, or the penalties that probably shouldn't have been for the goals that get ruled out. I mean, that's the way I always look at it. I think in isolation, it might have caused you to drop points, or you could have had a better performance, or as a result of that goal being given. But at the same time, there's been times where you will probably get a decision later on this season, which people go, "Oh, it's a bit dubious." So I think I would say maybe it's just a bad day at the office that's topped off with, a refereeing decision. But I wouldn't say that Liverpool fans can hide behind that and say, "Oh, look, the entire game would have been different," because bar, I don't know, a Salah chance sort of 5 minutes in, which Diaz got a foot to anyway, and I think put behind for a corner, or Donnarumma came out and claimed it. Liverpool didn't really create much. We really nullified their attack. So I think bar that offside goal, we go up the other end and score anyway. So I think it wouldn't have surprised me even if it was 1-1, City do go on to win the game anyway. I think we were that dominant yesterday that it wouldn't have surprised me if it still ended up 3-1 or 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, whatever.
Yeah, no, I do agree, but I do just think that goals do change games. That's the problem. Is had we have got that, would the mentality have switched and we'd have hunted more? But it's if buts and maybes, isn't it? Really, what happened. I think the key issue is VAR and its inconsistency, because we can't have one decision go one way and one decision go another way week in, week out. It feels like we're discussing the same thing. It's just poor.
Joe, Erling Haaland, mate, he's unstoppable. I know. I think we'd all agree that Ibrahim Konate should have done more to get rid of that header, to be honest with you. When the ball went into the box, I think it was Nunez that put it in. But I'm just looking at the statistics now. So what is it across this season, and also playing for Norway in World Cup qualification? I think it's 25 games in total and 34 goals. That is absurd, to be honest with you. We know how much of a goal threat he is. 11 games in the Premier League already, 14 goals, 5 goals in the Champions League, 4 games played. And I think this is including Club World Cup as well from the summer. I personally think he should have won the Ballon d'Or a couple of years ago, but Messi won it because of the World Cup. I mean, that was just like one campaign. I know it's like 6 or 7 games, but I mean, that was in the City treble season as well. Can we now say, I don't know where I stand on best player in the world, because obviously so many people have different technical abilities if you're a winger or a midfielder. Is Erling Haaland the best footballer in the world?
I maybe, even as much as I love the guy, I probably wouldn't say footballer. He's getting to the point where he's much better with the ball at his feet. I'll give you that. Best striker in the world, witithout a doubt. Footballer, I'm not too sure. He's just an absolute machine. I mean, there's just this certainty around him. And even though he missed the penalty, you kind of thought, he's still going to get a goal today. He's still going to score. There's that just absolute certainty with him that he's going to score every game pretty much, which is mental to have as a striker. Because even with Aguero, there were games where you thought, it's just not his day. Do you know what I mean? But even when it seemed like it wasn't his day after he missed the penalty, you thought, oh, God, here we go. He's still there. He's still in the box. And he could have had more. And he's just an absolute machine. Honestly, I can't believe that we only got him for 50-odd million pounds. And I know people will debate the finances involved, but hey, they always debate the finances involved with City. I mean, I'm grateful that he didn't sky the penalties, because I think as a professional footballer, you've got to at least get it on target. If he saves it, he saves it. But I think that's the first time as well we've won with him in the starting 11 against Liverpool, which is a mental stat anyway. But yeah, he's just an absolute robot, a machine. There's too many words you can use to describe him. And I just think, yeah, he's certainly the best striker on the planet. And footballer, maybe in a few years' time when he's improved even more with the ball at his feet, because I think that's something that he's really grown with this season. I think specifically against the Bournemouth game, there was a couple of times where he knocks it past the defender and goes on a little dribble. And it's like, people wouldn't have expected that from him 2 years ago. They would have said, oh, he's a tapping merchant. He just sits in the box and waits for the ball to get to him. But no, he's much more involved in holding the ball up, laying it off to other players. And I think there was a couple of times as well in the Liverpool game where he's passed it off to Cherky or Bernardo or something like that. And that's something that's really grown with his game this season and towards the back end of last season as well. And I think if he continues at that rate, then there is a chance that he becomes the best footballer in the world, not just the greatest striker.
You know, the thing is with Erling Haaland, when he can go like quiet and sort of like missing in games a bit, that's where you should probably be a little bit worried. Because I hark back to this season when you played Brentford, and when I can't remember who he spoke to off the back of the game, and he said, yeah, I was finding the game, I wasn't really up for it, blah, 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 blah. And I think it was Vandenberg that he just like shrugged off, then all of a sudden he's through on goal and he scores. Like, he can go missing in games. That we all know that with Erling Haaland. I think that's what he gets a bit of criticism for, when he goes sort of like a game or two without a goal, which is quite a mad thing to say. But still, at the same time, I think if City can put up a good charge both in Europe and potentially win the Premier League in a domestic, and you won't need to do a treble again for Erling Haaland to win the Ballon d'Or. But I mean, if he puts up the ridiculous numbers like he did in his first couple of seasons at Man City, then I can't see anyone else getting the Ballon d'Or. Millie, this is pretty much a Manchester City question to you. We're just going to finish off of this, and I want to get both of your opinions. Even though it wasn't meant to be for Liverpool, and some of the performances were not up to standard, you're thinking about Mohamed Salah and Konate and Van Dijk were just miles off it. One person that gave his all, and I felt so sorry for, because he was getting no support, and no one ever gets support from Mohamed Salah in the defence, was Conor Bradley. Conor Bradley had arguably the biggest job on his hands against, I'm going to say, Jeremy Doku last night was...
Oh, he was unbelievable.
That was the best performance I've seen from a winger all season. And up to that point of him scoring, I was like, this bloke deserves a hat-trick, for goodness sake. He's been absolutely everywhere. Is that the best winger that you've seen come up against Liverpool this season? Obviously, you played Vinicius in the week, and you couldn't really lay a glove on Liverpool. But Doku was absolutely everywhere.
Doku was outstanding last night. He was... Honest, I have no words for it. Why that performance came out of, because he's a good player, like week in, week out, but that was just on another level. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, Conor Bradley did have a reasonably good game, but there was just no controlling. He was everywhere. Every time you looked, he had the ball. He was just like lightning fast. You couldn't see him half the time. It was just one of those days when you're like, you just know as soon as that first goal goes in, they're all going to switch it up now, and they're all going to turn up against us. And it's just, they're out for blood, and we might as well just sit and enjoy the ride. Not enjoy it, really. It was actually quite awful to watch. But yeah, I was outstanding. I have no complaints. And I mean, I think he was called man of the match in about the 65th minute. Yeah. So that tells you. And he had everything up until the goal. He'd ticked every box, and then getting the goal for him, which was an unbelievable goal as well. I mean, what do you do with that? Bradley must have thought, I've played with Vinicius Jr. They're all the chat about him, and Bradley absolutely pocketed him. Then you come into this and you get that. It's just our luck, isn't it?
Joe, there was the game where he got like 3 or 4 assists in one match, wasn't there? But it sort of felt like last night that we know the quality of Jeremy Doku, but that is the best that, as a neutral, I've seen him playing in a Manchester City shirt. You might say, Carabao Cup, when we played Southend 2 or 3 years ago, he was unbelievable. But I wouldn't have been watching that because I'm not a Manchester City fan. But last night, I mean, if he can keep that form up, he's in contention for being one of the steady best wingers in the Premier League at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think since maybe the October international break, he's had a decent run of form. He dipped a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but last night was just exceptional. I don't think I've seen such a dominant, complete kind of display from a player in such a big game all season, to be honest. I think that is the greatest individual performance from a player so far this season, because he just had everything. He had the defenders on toast. He was tracking back and doing a pretty decent job of that as well. And obviously the goal is just an absolute wonder strike. It was right in front of me. He celebrated right in front of me. And I just thought, what a man you are, Jeremy Doku. I love him. I've always had sort of, I'm not sure what they say, the stocks in him, the investment in him. I always thought he would come good. But, there has been times where you think, second season last year, he still wasn't really, or third season was it last year? I'm not too sure to be honest. He wasn't really kicking on. And it was a little bit like, is he just a player that isn't going to fit in at City here? Does he lose the ball a bit too much for Pep's liking? But he's really, something has changed this season and he's been absolutely exceptional. I think that when you have him and Haaland on the same pitch, and if there's been clips and quotes about him working in training about how to find Haaland and how to better service him. And I think that if he can really master that, as well as being so good individually at beating his man and providing finishes like he did last night, then City are going to be absolutely unstoppable in attack.
Joe, Millie, I want to thank you so much for your time on this Monday morning. Appreciate it massively. Hopefully get to speak to you both before the end of the season. We're only 11 games in, but anything can happen. I mean, if I don't speak to you, good luck. Joe, hopefully, it'll be you guys lifting the title and it not going to the Emirates. Appreciate it. Thank you. This episode of Set to the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today.